Dante's Boxing Nation.
Brothers and sisters! Brothers and sisters! I don't know what this world is coming to.
Hey yo, check this out, this is Flavor Flav, and if you want the whole truth, and nothing but the whole truth, so help the whole truth. Hey yo, you better listen to Dante, baby. Dante!
What's going on, y'all? Welcome to another edition of the Dante's Boxing Nation show. I am your host, Dante, and we got another good show for you guys, as always. First things first, let me go ahead and introduce my man in the studio, my man DJ George, producer. What's going on, man?
Not too much, just hanging with you.
All right, man, and let me go ahead and introduce my man online with me, as always. Check out his website. It's boxingego.com. It's one of the best websites out there for all your boxing news, all right? My man Boxing Ego is on the phone. Now let me go ahead and introduce my guest in the studio with me. This man right here sitting right next to me. He's one of the fastest rising boxing managers right now, my man Miles Bailey. What's going on, man?
How are you guys doing today?
All right. And let me go ahead and introduce the former lightweight champion of the world. My man is doing big things right now in the building with us, my man Mickey Bey. What's going on, Mickey?
How you doing? How you doing?
All right, man. Welcome to the show, guys. Glad y'all showed up. We got a lot to talk about, man. But we going first of all, let me see if my man AK called in yet. AK, you there? Okay, we'll get him later, or maybe not. But anyway, let's start with you, my man Mickey Bey, real quick, man. So you just came off of a close competitive fight against Rances Bartholomew. I mean, both of you guys were like, real high when it comes to, skills and status and all that kind of stuff. Go ahead and reflect on that fight, man, if you can, man. What's your thoughts now? Is there anything you feel you could have done differently? In hindsight, what do you think, man?
Well, it's always easy to say when you're not, in there what you could have done, but I think preparation leading on to the fight, it could have been, stuff could have been a little bit better. So, as far as in the ring, I just think that he probably was more well prepared. I give him that. So, with a fighter like that, especially coming off of not being busy, you got to be, I don't think my preparation was as good as his. I think he had a little edge there. So, he got the nod that night.
I mean, now we all know that Rances is a real special talent, but now firsthand, you've been in the ring with him. How good is he, man? What makes him so special, man?
He kind of a big guy and a little awkward,
I heard he real strong too. That's what some.
Yeah, he's pretty strong. You could tell that he's big. Like you being in the ring, you could tell he gained a lot of weight. Like because I spar with a lot of bigger guys, so I could tell that he put on a good amount of weight. But he's a pretty solid fighter. I've been in the ring with a lot of guys. It was a good fight. We both, everybody would have thought, it was gonna be boring, but we fought. It was a good fight. But I see him. He went up in weight. I see him. Pretty much dominating that weight. I don't really see too many problems for him up there at 140.
And I'm gonna tell you, Mickey, not too many people would have got in the ring with a talent like that, So I mean, that shows a lot. That says a lot about you as well. Just getting in there, that shows the type of confidence you had. Because it was still a close fight.
Right.
It wasn't like he just dog walked you, nothing that.
Nah.
Like I was telling you off air, it almost reminded me of Roy Jones against Bernard Hopkins when they first fought. Because you just had two fighters at a high level. When it comes to skill.
And that's what people want to see. That's why we both fought. A lot of people want to wait years to fight, say, we want to build it up. Me and him just fought each other.
Yeah.
We didn't worry about, it got to be built up, this and that. Me and him went in and fought. That's what people want to see, and that's what I'm going to still do the same thing my next fight. When they ask me who I want to fight, it's going to be another. The next best in the line.
And that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, you're supposed to go in there and fight the best if you believe you're the best, right? Or challenge yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
No matter what happens, right?
Yeah, you're supposed to. He got the nod that night, and it'll just make me better the next time,
Absolutely. Let me see. Do we have anyone else on the line right now? I keep hearing.
What's up?
Oh, Miss Boxing Baby. What's going on, Miss Boxing Baby? AK, is AK there? Is it just
Yeah.
AK is there too?
Yeah.
My man Arab
Yeah,
King
I
is
can
in the
hear you,
building
man,
as
but-
well. Okay, George, they're saying it's all of them are saying it's choppy right now. Hey, hold on for a second, George. He's gonna try to get that right for you guys. So Miles Bailey, boxing manager out here from New York to Las Vegas. Tell me what you got lined up, man. What's been going on, man?
Well, I'm working with a couple of different promoters. One by the name of Bob Miller and his wife from Take It Light. Bob is a cut man. He has a Will Madera, who's a 135. He's 8-0. And Bob was the one who actually started off Mike Tyson in his career when he got 18-0 with Customato. So Bob has light years in the game, and me and Bob have a long history. We're also working with Al Lowe, who had Tommy Hearns and Leon Spinks. So we're going to look to do some things here in Las Vegas too, because Ernie Shavers and Evander Holyfield, who now is working with me, who's my partner, Evander and I are going to work on getting Luis Ortiz, the heavyweight that no one wants to fight. He's with Golden Boy, but we're going to get a little percentage to work something out to get him a heavyweight fight. But anybody that knows will see that nobody wants to fight Ortiz. So that's what I'm working on at the moment. I got a couple other things that I'm going to share along with the program, but you guys hang in there and stay with us so you can hear all the other juicy stuff that's coming on.
Yeah, okay. And I got to ask you, since you talked about your heavyweight last time you was on the show, what's going on with him? Are you still working with him, or?
Yeah, but it seems like we're having a little issue because either no one wants to fight him or they want to give him a tough fight that's really not worth it, like they just did to my man Mr. Bey here. They give him something that's really not correct, and then you lose, and next thing you know, now you become a journeyman. Not that he is, because he's a champion, but my fighter was 9-1-1 with 7 knockouts.
What's his name again? Mamadou? What was it?
Kim Du Bethel Boykin.
Kim
Fought
Du.
with Deontay Wilder, Michael Hunter. He came out of 2008 Olympic class with Danny Jacobs. It was really good, but now we're just running through problems because everybody knows how the boxing game goes.
Absolutely. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to talk some boxing news with both of you guys. This is a big week for boxing, man. I mean, we got Keith Thurman versus Porter out there in New York. That's a huge fight. Mickey Bey, man. Do you have a personal relationship with any of these cats?
Oh, for sure. A lot of people don't know. Me and Sean, we went to elementary school together.
Oh, wow.
Me and Sean Porter, yeah, we both, he kind of like from in between Akron and Cleveland, but, yeah, we actually, his father reminded me, that I used to walk him home from elementary school. We went to the same elementary school and came up in the amateurs together. Sean, who used to be a middleweight, man, one thing I could say about Sean, he always been a tough fighter. Like, I never saw one fight of his where he didn't give it 100%. Like, and I know a bunch of great fighters. Some fighters are one fight is up, one fight is down. Sean been a dog since he was like 8 years old. Like, I known him since he was about 8 or 9 fighting, and he was one of those kind of guys that fought exactly the same every fight. He always gave it 100%. So, you got to, like you said, you got to see a lot of his amateur fights, man. I'm sure because I remember he in the promo for this Thurman fight, he was saying, Keith Thurman was always the long-haired dude that was knocking cats out, and I was always, the short, stocky dude that was knocking bigger dudes out. Yeah, he was knocking, and he was hurting dudes at a young age. Like, when he was small, he was one of those kind of guys that if he fought a slick fighter, he'd just pin him on the ropes and beat him up the whole fight. Like, he was beating everybody. I got tapes at home still, from when he was small, but Keith almost gotta hurt him, to me, to beat him, because if you don't hurt Sean and put him on his heels, or you better just try to be, Kell Brook fought him a good fight. He kind of outboxed him, but I think Keith is gonna fight him a little bit. So I think it's gonna be a close fight, but I gotta ride with the homeboy. So
you gotta ride with him,
with Sean.
I mean, but what would be Sean's keys to victory? You kind of said what Keith has to do.
Sean gotta. I think that he gotta be alert. He can't fall asleep, and he got to see Keith's punches coming, because sometimes Sean is so tough that he'll take one to give one. He'll take one to give 4 or 5. You can't do that with Keith, because you see in the Broner fight, Sean kind of fell asleep and Broner caught him, and he dropped him. Keith is one of those guys that's going to he gonna be looking for that the whole fight. Like trying to, I work with Sean a lot too. I sparred with him for the Paulie fight.
Okay.
So I know firsthand how tough and strong Sean is. But he got to just watch out for Keith. Keith is gonna try to time him and catch him. Keith gonna try to knock him out. He gonna box him, but he like one of those guys that box, move, stop, sit down, and punch. So I think Deshaun just got to stay alert and watch out for the counters and just outwork him.
Okay. Regardless if you bias or not, you sincerely believe that Sean is going to win this fight?
I mean, it's still a 50-50 fight. I mean, I can't lie to you. It's I'm just rooting for Sean, of course. I like Keith too, but it's 50-50, like for sure. Like whoever, because sometimes the better man don't always win. The better man could fight the wrong fight and lose. I had a loss like that, before, so it don't always mean you're going to win the fight. You could fight one bad game plan and lose, so you can't do that with Sean. Like Sean is consistent at what he does. Like he been literally, I saw him fight probably 100 times. He fight just like that. It could be a gift and a curse though, because you know what's coming. Like he doesn't do anything different, but he's real consistent. He tough as a bull, and he gonna fight 12 rounds straight.
Yeah. And Miles, my question when it comes to Keith Thurman is, he said that he's not going to hold. He said he's not going to hold like Kell Brook. And I said, if he's not going to hold, he's going to give Sean Porter even a better chance in the fight, because that means he's going to be on the inside, and he won't basically nullify the attack if he doesn't tie him up.
And that's what's going to go right to his demise, because as Mickey was saying earlier, when Sean was fighting years ago, he was fighting actually as a middleweight in the amateurs with Danny Jacobs and all those tough guys, and competing. So for him to come down to 147, even though he got the flash knockdown with Broner, but like as Mickey said, he fell asleep a little bit. But if he stays on this guy and they go toe to toe, I'm giving Porter the edge. Porter's going to knock out Thurman. That's what my beliefs are, because Porter hits a little too hard. So if he stays in there and goes toe to toe, he won't be able to match up with that firepower. Of course, if he stays away and box and hold, of course that's going to happen. But I like Porter. I think Porter is going to be the one to do the job. And I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's 70-30 or 80-20. That's
Interesting. But yeah, man, it's a real competitive fight. I mean, I'm not going to really lean towards anyone right now. But like I said, if Sean Porter is working on the inside and Keith Thurman is not tying him up, that's gonna be tough.
Yeah, because even though I'm a smaller fighter, but I spar with Sean, a lot. Like he's one of those fighters that you almost gotta tie up just to break his rhythm. Even if it's not a hold, you kind of want to clinch him to break his rhythm, because Sean will hit anything. Yeah, he don't care if it's your face, arm, body.
He's gonna keep punching.
Oh man, he's physically strong. Like Sean could punch, but he's like a physically strong guy that'll wear you down. So I think that Keith might have the edge in punching power a little, but I think that Sean is stronger physically, and maybe punching power Keith might have the edge. I don't know, but Sean could definitely punch. He's heavy-handed.
Did you go ahead?
Well, a guy could give you an example years ago when Hearns and Hagler fought, and again, if Hearns had tied him up and they both can punch, it would be look like a replica of that, because Hagler was hurt in the first round. And he tied up Hearns for a hot minute to get his bearings back.
Yeah.
But if Thurman doesn't tie this man up, he's going to be looking for a short night.
Honestly, if I had to say that was like Hearns and Hagler, I would say that Sean is Hagler and Keith is Hearns.
Correct.
Because Keith a little more explosive and slicker, but Sean is like the workhorse. He coming to Sean to work 12 rounds. He won't. We know what we getting out of Sean. It's more about what's Keith gonna do. Like what is.
That's a good comparison, though. Hagler Hearns, because I could see some of that in this fight.
100%.
I could see it being a little reminiscent. I know it ain't gonna end in 3 rounds, but somebody dramatically get knocked out in 3 rounds.
To me, honestly, I think it'd go 12 rounds.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Did you watch the sparring that Keith Thurman leaked? Did you
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't get to watch that. I wish we could play it a little bit, give you so you could see a clip of it. But it was interesting, because it was a lot of people leaned towards Keith Thurman. He was boxing, right? But the later rounds, he started to slow down, and he started to hold.
Oh, okay.
But he attributed that to saying that he actually sparred with someone else 4 rounds before Porter. So I
That's
don't know.
one thing. You can't get tired against Sean. I know that for a fact. If you get tired with him, it's over. Sean does not get tired.
Yeah,
that dude he trains like one of the hardest training guys that I've seen. Like he trains hard.
Yeah.
So you can't get tired against Sean.
And they were sparring with 20-ounce gloves too, so that's obviously a huge difference.
And I actually saw Sean sparring with a cruiserweight at the Hit Factory about 2 years ago, and he was doing really well against the cruiserweight.
Yeah, very durable. Like Mickey said, he's physically strong. So that's going to be a good fight, man. And do you believe, Mickey Bey, that this fight basically solidifies who the best fighter at the welterweight division is? Or would you say someone else is the best?
Yeah, it's too many.
Yeah.
To me, they might as well have a tournament, like a round robin.
It's almost like that if you think about it. I mean, now you got Kell Brook versus Jesse Vargas. Errol Spence is supposed to be the mandatory for that. But Kell Brook,
I don't think he wanted to fight Errol Spence for some reason.
He talking about moving up. He talking about fighting the winner of Thurman Porter. He ain't even mentioned Errol Spence.
This is the crazy thing I think about that weight division. I think that styles make fights. I think that it's some guys that can beat each other, like Danny. I think that it's guys he can beat. But I think it's guys that'll beat him, but it's maybe guys he can beat that can't beat another guy that can't beat him.
Correct.
It's weird. I don't see one standout guy that can beat everybody. I even think Broner will do good at that weight because, as long as he focus and he get back.
You think Broner could compete with I mean, I ain't saying nothing bad about Broner.
I think it's some people.
Who you think Broner would do good against? Well, I know you're gonna say Danny Garcia.
That's a fight I'd like to see. I think I lean to Broner on that one. It's not easy though, because Danny I give him his props. He's an overachiever. Like, they've been putting him in fights and he always wins. People always say it lately. He been cherry picking, but you got to look before that. His fight with Amir Khan was like a fill-in fight. He just took it as an opponent and ended up knocking him out. And since then, he's been on the mat. But I don't think you can count Broner out either, because if he's hungry, Broner to me is more like he's strong and I just think that when he's aggressive, that's when he at his best. So I think that if he get his aggression and his hunger back, I could see him clipping some guys. If you put him in there with the right people. Yeah,
I mean, and he has the personality. He got the flashy style. I mean, it is almost like a round robin.
It is, and you got Errol Spence. Yeah, that's coming up. That's advanced enough to beat. To me, I don't really see many people that want to fight him like this.
No.
It's weird because to me, it's fights between 40 and 47. Like I would like to see. If it wasn't all about just money and whose name, I would like to see Crawford versus Spence.
That's probably going to be that might be a super.
Or you know what, Crawford versus Broner would be a good. That'd be a good fight to me.
That'll be a good fight.
That style matchup, I think, even for Broner, I think that's a good. I think that's a good style matchup.
That would be a good matchup.
But I see Terrence beating a lot of the welterweights, like
There's another kid out there, Amir Iman. If he ever comes back and gets right,
what's going on with him?
I mean, he had
that loss to
I saw him down there. He looked good. Like they say he was training good. So
it's all about how he comes back.
For sure. Sometimes with fighters, I'm gonna show that my next fight.
Yeah.
Sometimes guys more dangerous when they take a loss because it's meant to.
You a good example of that right there.
Man.
Okay.
Oh man, I'm licking my chops. Whoever getting in the ring with me next is getting destroyed. And I'm sure that's how Broner feel. How the guy Amir. Everybody's not Mayweather.
Yeah.
That's the only real undefeated fighter to me is him and Andre Ward. Other people could have had losses. It might have went their way, but I'm not fighting to say, I'm going to retire undefeated. My career went a different route. Had I been younger and didn't have a lot of layoffs, maybe so, but mine is to fight the best and see who I can beat at a high level, but
and not everybody is Francis Bartholomew either. So I mean, you just had a competitive fight with him.
Yeah,
that's gonna make almost any other fight easier if you really think about it.
Especially, I fought once in 2 years before that. So I like to get straight to it.
Yeah.
Would it have been smarter to maybe take one or two? Yeah, but oh well. Like to me, I just want to get in there, and
yeah, because you had only had one fight, and it was a long time before that.
Since 2014, but I like fighting the best, man, and I give him props for fighting me because a lot of other guys, I was supposed to fight guys like Linares that we didn't send him contracts before, and
really?
almost let him fill in the person. He didn't want to take it. And I heard a dude, I forget, what's the guy, Hearn or something?
Eddie Hearn?
Yeah, he was saying that he wanted one of his guys to fight me. So,
yeah,
I'm the kind of guy, man, I go over there and fight this guy. But,
the UK,
hopefully, I'm just telling you, this next one is going to be, it's going to be
it's payback, huh?
For sure, yeah.
Somebody about to get it now. Hey, so Ego, Miss Boxing Baby, AK, you guys back on the line, right?
What's up, Moose? What's going on?
What's up, Nicky? How you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
So we haven't heard from you in a while, Moose. I want to ask you now. We're gonna have an interesting conversation because I want to let you guys know. They both, Mickey Bey and Miles Bailey, boxing manager. They're both picking Porter to beat Keith Thurman. Matter of fact, Miles Bailey, he said 75-25.
Correct.
Man. And he's picking Porter to knock out Keith Thurman. So, what's your take on that, Moose?
You said me?
Yeah. Boxing Baby. Just letting y'all know that's her other nickname, Moose, y'all. Miss Boxing Baby. Yeah, go ahead.
I think that me personally, if I was Thurman, I would look at the Adrian Broner fight and how he was able to drop Porter, being that he's a blown-up 135-pounder. And this man is a full-fledged welterweight. I would jump on Porter early and not allow him to get in any type of rhythm, because once he gets in the rhythm and he's allowed to put that body on him, it's going to be a hard night for Thurman. But I'm going with Thurman, though.
You going with Thurman? Okay. I mean, but that's why this is a good fight.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
how it's supposed to be.
It's supposed to be.
Everybody picking one person.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, Canelo versus Liam Smith where we're going to be divided on who's going to win the fight.
Yeah, Thurman is dangerous, though. Like, if he catch you.
Yeah, he's extremely dangerous. Matter of fact, he caught Sean Porter with a couple real nice uppercuts in sparring. Some real nice uppercuts.
So how was the sparring? Was it like kind of back and forth, or?
I mean, me personally, I slightly say Keith Thurman, he slightly outboxed him.
Right.
But there was times
how many rounds was it?
They did. Well, it was about 4 or 5.
See, that's the thing. It's 12.
Yeah. But Thurman slowed. But like I said, Thurman slowed down towards the end. But what I did notice is Thurman, he was doing kind of good, of course, in the center of the ring. But sometimes he would miss some shots, and then right after he would miss, Porter would back him up to the ropes.
Porter on you,
and then now he rope-a-dope, and he trying to rope-a-dope Keith Thurman. So, but we're gonna find out, like you said, Sean don't get tired.
I think it's gonna boil down to what Keith is hunger. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's hungry, but money means a lot in this game. Like, he done made some good money, and I'm sure he getting a lot of money for this fight. So, is that going to take some of the hunger out, or what? Is the money already being spent?
Yeah.
Saying, okay, after the fight, I got, 2, 3, 4 million, whatever he's getting. I know for a fact that with Sean, that's not the case with him. Sean is one of those kind of guys that still plays video games all day. And, he doesn't. Sean doesn't mess around, but
and they stay training. They stay training.
Definitely,
they stay training. Yeah, so the question is, is one of them wearing silk pajamas, anything like that right now?
Yeah. So it's
Have
gonna
they
matter.
Gotten too relaxed?
Keith's hungry, but Keith is real dangerous. Like he definitely he could change the fight with one punch. That's what kind of fighter he is. I don't really see. I mean. Sean is capable of hurting anybody, but if he is to win, I more see him being like outworking him, kind of grinding him down. Keith don't really look too easy to hurt to the head, maybe. Yeah. If you get in his body, maybe, but I don't.
You remember, Luis Collazo, he caught him with a straight to the body, a straight left to the body. Yeah. That was the only time I ever seen.
Keith seemed pretty big, like a big, solid welterweight too, so. Mm-hmm. Man, it's going to be an excellent fight.
Yeah, it's going to be excellent.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think Thurman should make him respect him earlier. I don't think he needs to go out there playing around. I think he needs to give Porter something to think about. Because Porter fights, you know how he fights. Mm-hmm. He comes in with his aggression. He uses his body a lot. He's not a devastating puncher, but he knows how to put a body on you.
He's physical.
When he does that, that's what Thurman needs to use against him early.
Absolutely.
Make him respect him early.
Absolutely.
Don't waste no time.
Now, AK, my man, Arab King. Now, you had an interesting breakdown on this fight as well. Explain why you believe Keith Thurman is going to win the fight, AK.
Yeah, I also got, Thurman winning the fight. I see him, countering Porter early, like in the first 3 rounds, with huge uppercuts and straight rights and even left hooks. And once he does that, I know for a fact Porter going to have to respect that, because in the sparring match, as you've seen, he was countering Porter coming in with crazy uppercuts, but they had 20-ounce gloves on.
Mm-hmm.
So, with 8 ounces, that's a whole different story. And, it's it's a different thing when you run into a shot. Ask Pacquiao with Marquez. When you run into a shot, you double in the damage, and Thurman is already a hard hitter. So I feel like, once Porter gets caught a couple times, he's going to fight mid-range, more so than pressure, and it won't be no consistent pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just gonna try to sneak in there and pressure him here and there. And all Thurman really has to do in my books is stay off the ropes and tie Porter up sometimes, because he relies on movement a lot. And Thurman does unnecessary movement sometimes, which could tire him out.
Slow him down, yeah.
Versus a fighter like Porter. And you don't want to be gassed out against a fighter like that. But if he could just do enough movement to set up his shots, and whenever, here and there he will just smother Porter instead of moving around, then I think Thurman, he won this fight in an easy fashion. But Porter could make it a tough fight.
Mm-hmm. And just a quick prediction from Boxing Ego as well. Now, Boxing Ego, he actually did a tell of the tape where he broke this down on his channel, so you guys could check that video out. But go ahead and give a quick summary of how it's going to go down, Ego.
Well, I just want to say thank you to Al Heyman, and the reason we're having dialogue like this is because it is a meaningful and a 50-50 fight. So I'm not mad at whoever's picking who, but I always look at the stylistic matchup, and I think it favors Thurman. But he can make this fight as difficult as he chooses. He's the taller man, so if he doesn't fight tall, it's a problem. If he's in bullshit shape, it's a problem, because you got to think about it. They were both hurt in their last fight. Collazo hurt Thurman to the body, and then Broner knocked down Porter. So
good point.
That's kind of an even thing. Porter's going into it confident. We know that firsthand, Dante, because we were in his gym. And also with the stalling of the negotiations, the car accident. So he's going into it like a bull. So I think stylistically Thurman has the tools to get it done and beat Porter, just because he's accurate. He needs to shorten up his punches. Sean has his head low sometimes, so that upper could be nasty, like AK was saying with the 8-ounce gloves. But it could be a very difficult fight if he does the wrong thing at the wrong time. Not everyone's a Floyd Mayweather. Mayweather, Andre Ward, those guys know how to control distance. So if Thurman doesn't control distance, he's in for a world of hurt. If he's not in shape, he's in trouble. But I think stylistically, like AK was saying, Porter's going to have to respect Thurman's power. And if he boxes and bangs when he needs to, I think he pulls it off.
Yeah, and
I just want to point out one thing too, with Porter, like the fact that hold up.
Okay, we'll get back to AK. I was about to say real quick, those 8-ounce gloves, they're not just going to benefit Thurman though. They're going to benefit Porter too, right? Especially when he got you on the ropes, like you were saying earlier.
And then my thing is the late part of the fight is what's going to really because Thurman, he seemed stronger on the front end of the fight. He got to be in excellent shape against Sean, but at the same time, Sean got to be alert. You know, he got to see those punches coming, because Thurman is a sneaky kind of counter puncher. Like he'll move, and stop and sit down with one hard shot. Sean can't afford to get hit by those, but at the same time, Keith Thurman, you know, I'm sure he is in top shape, but he just got to fight smart so that, the last half of the fight, he got to stay pretty much consistent, because Sean is consistent every single round with his conditioning.
Yeah.
And that's with most fighters in boxing. You don't hardly see many, if any, but a couple that's got the same stamina from beginning to end of the fight.
And Mickey, Thurman said something pretty interesting. He said, all I got to do is win 7 rounds to 5. Do you think that's a little bit of a inclination that even he believes that he's going to slow down in the later rounds for him to say something like that?
You know what I don't know why this has popped in my head. That's speaking of Marvin Hagler. What I'm thinking, I don't know why this popped in my head with Sugar Ray Leonard and Hagler. I don't know why when you said that popped in my mind. I think that I think he gonna fight Sean in spurts. Mm-hmm. Like hit him with a flashy combination. His stuff look better than Sean's. Like he looks more appealing because he's a sharp puncher. Sean doesn't look good, but he gets the job done.
Yeah.
So I think that Keith will move, stop, hit him with something flashy, and keep moving. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of what I think, that he kind of looking at that Ray Leonard and Hagler approach. But I mean, it's not a bad idea, but you never know, because
when he say 7 rounds to 5,
I wouldn't. I don't know why he said it. I would have. He should have kept that in his head, because Sean knows now. Like, okay, I wouldn't have said that if I was him. I don't understand, but I think that's what's in his mind. I think is that Leonard and Hagler fight, because that popped in my mind as soon as you said it. He gonna move. He gonna stop, hit Sean with something flashy. Sean doesn't really grab the crowd much when he fights. Like, he pretty much just grinds on you and throw. He don't really land real like sharp punches. But Sean is strong, and he'll beat you if you're not active. Like he kind of snuck up on Broner a little bit. That's kind of how he beat him. He just grinded. Next thing you know, you look up in the fight and you down almost 10 rounds to zip, and it's too late. With a guy like Sean.
Absolutely. AK, you back on? Go ahead.
I was just going to say, one thing I like that Porter does, too, he has very creative. It reminds me of, when you're with your friends and you try to get them to flinch, he does this little thing with his feet, like a little stutter step, and
feints
like he's trying to
all.
get you to bite. Yeah, his feints are real creative. So that's, again, why it's important for Thurman to establish. I think Thurman has to be not just a counterpuncher, but an aggressive counterpuncher. You look at, like, let's say Floyd, because he has so many fights. Floyd's way he fought Guerrero was different than he fought Maidana in the first fight. He was more aggressive versus Maidana because he had to get that respect. So I think Thurman needs to be a counterpuncher, but he still has to be smart, but more aggressive with Porter. You know what I mean? He doesn't want to do that Bundu shit where he does that Bundu stuff. And he knocks him, has Bundu hurt in the first round, and then he starts playing this like passive counterpuncher and moving. Like you could have got Bundu up out of there. You don't want Bundu to probably hurt you. Porter could, and he can grind you down. So he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be more. If you get your man hurt, you got to finish it. You don't want Sean lingering around because Sean got hurt. In the broader fight, he got right back up. So he has to be a counterpuncher, but not this like. A counterpuncher where he's just waiting for Sean to feint him and all this stuff. He has to be going for the kill, back off when needed, and then be an aggressive counterpuncher.
Yeah, he needs to make this a fight too, not just going there just trying to box pretty. He needs to make it a fight. In my opinion, that's the way he needs to fight him. He needs to really get in his ass, and I think he should do it early.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see knockdowns too. Go ahead, AK.
Yeah, and I got a question for y'all right quick. The fact that Keith Thurman said, I don't know if it's true or not, but Thurman said that he didn't start sparring for this fight till 4 weeks, before the fight. So, because, of course, you got to have good timing to be able to counter Porter, or you're going to be in trouble yourself, like Ego said. How many of y'all think that's going to affect him fight night?
I do.
The fact that he wasn't
I'm
able
going to be
spar
totally
for
honest
4
with
weeks.
you. It's crazy that you brought that up, because somebody told me that. Somebody even told me, 3 or 4 weeks. When they told me that, I got more confidence in Sean. Because before that, I was like, man, of course I'm biased just because we came up together. But in the neutral standpoint, I was kind of like, man, to me, Thurman can do more things better. But Sean just is like a guy that knows how to win. Like, you got to factor in a lot when they come to a big fight. It's how you feel on that day. The mental mind state. We just won the championship with the Cavs. That's gonna motivate Sean.
Yeah.
Now you got to factor in a lot of that stuff.
That's a good point.
Sean, they were the underdogs 3-1.
That's a good point.
Like, it's a lot of things that factor in on that fight day. That can be that one chip that, and I think he might even went to LeBron's high school, Sean. in Akron. So
that's wow.
You got to factor in all of that kind of stuff when it come to a big fight like this. And when I heard that he sparred 3 or 4 weeks for a fighter like Sean, like hopefully in them 3 or 4 weeks he maybe he was in great shape before that, but by me working with Sean and me seeing Sean work, I would say you would need at least 2 months for a fighter like him. But if he can clip him or hurt him, that's why I say if he don't hurt him, he'd probably lose this fight, because that's not enough time for a big fight. You know, 4 weeks is not enough.
And this is coming from, the former lightweight champion, man. So you know how it feels to get a late start when it comes to sparring or whatever the case may be.
It's kind of like you have it maybe half of the fight, and maybe that's why you see, like, y'all mentioned the Bundu fight. Mm-hmm. That's kind of the reaction you get when you didn't do quite enough. Like, you got to take rounds off, because
I was going to talk about that fight too. Go ahead.
Because Floyd is like, Floyd already be ready, like, he's already ready a month before the fight. Of course, nobody is Floyd, but I'm just saying, seeing his preparation for over a decade, I can see why, like, he never lost, because Floyd trains about 3 months for his fight, but a month before. So imagine if he was fighting Thurman. While Thurman is getting started, Floyd is already ready to fight. Floyd is ready to fight a month before the fight, so he's not catching up on conditioning. He's more just staying sharp.
He ain't got to get ready. He already ready.
3 4 weeks is, if he doesn't hurt Sean, that's not enough for a guy like Sean.
And the other side of that, Sean is going to be relentless. He's not going to stop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gonna keep coming. And like I was saying earlier, I think you guys heard me. The 7 to 5 rounds. Ego. Why do you think Thurman said that? We're gonna jump to something else after this, but we're gonna talk about this Anthony Joshua fight. But Ego, why do you think Keith Thurman said that in the press conference? He said, "All I got to do is win 7 rounds to 5." Is that an indication that he thinks he may slow down and give up some rounds? In the championship rounds, or what? Or later on?
I couldn't even hear the question.
I was just saying, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I hear you.
When basically Keith Thurman, he said that all he has to do is win 7 rounds to 5. So I'm saying, do you think that's a small indication that even Keith Thurman believes he's going to slow down in the later rounds?
I'm not sure why he would say something like that. I wouldn't even try. I don't know. That seems kind of close.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't. That would never be my benchmark for me if I was him.
I think he should have said 8 to 4 at least.
Yeah,
7 to 5 is pretty much a draw.
Yeah. I mean, because that means you can have some swing rounds.
Yeah, that's a draw.
We know Porter's the aggressor, so sometimes judges will just score it because he looks aggressive and he's pushing forward. So if you're winning a 7-5 fight and you're the guy that's more on the back foot, that's not a good look, because some of the judges, whether it's right or wrong, they're just going to score for the guy who they feel is pushing the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. So, especially if it's competitive.
Shouldn't do that.
Yeah, if the rounds are close.
If it's competitive and one guy's has super volume and coming forward, that's too close for Monica.
Yeah, way too close.
Yeah, and the thing about it, Dante, is it's true what he said, that all you need is win is 7 rounds, right? But at the end of the day, that's on a perfect day, where the judge is going to give you the 7th round that you won, But look what Floyd did to Canelo, and then he got a draw from one judge. And then the other judges had it so close. So at the end of the day, you better try to win 12 rounds if you can. You know?
12 rounds. That's what you should be aiming for.
Right.
11 or 12.
I don't know why he was saying that. It shows kind of some worries from his side.
That's he has a lot of respect. That shows a lot of respect for Sean Porter. They grew up together as well, just like Mickey Bey said. Mickey Bey actually went to school with Sean Porter. So you know him inside out.
Yeah, Sean is like, one thing I can say for a fact, that Sean gonna bring that kind of fight every time. I never seen him since he was an 8-year-old. He never fought a different way. Now it can be a curse if somebody was, it's a gift and a curse. But one thing is that Keith, if his conditioning is off, then he'll definitely lose if he don't hurt him. Because if you don't hurt a guy like Sean, what's gonna stop him? Unless you just an excellent boxer, the guy Cale Brook kind of. But to me, he's a little. I ain't sure if Cale can beat Thurman, but he's a better just straight boxer than Thurman. Thurman is kind of in between, like a boxer puncher, kind of like more like a Mosley kind of boxer.
Yeah,
he can hurt you, but Kel is a strictly just a boxer.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So let's move on, guys. There's another big fight this weekend. One of the best heavyweights out there right now. He's the heavyweight champion, one of them at least. Anthony Joshua against Joshua-Brazeale. Let's go ahead and start with you, Miss Boxing Baby. I ain't heard you in a minute. So how does this play out? Who gets knocked out?
Brazeale, easy fight.
Brazeale.
Yes.
And you know Moose. I hate to say it, but Brazeale, he's good, but he kind of reminds me of Chris Arreola. He kind of reminds me of a Chris Arreola. He has heart. He's aggressive. Yeah. He doesn't really have the best defense in the world. He'll get caught with shots you're not supposed to get caught with more than once. So I see him getting knocked out real early. I mean,
he's gonna get knocked out early.
Ditto.
Yeah. Let Wilder take care of Areola. Let Joshua take care of Brazeale. Then those two meet.
Yeah.
These warm up fights. These warm up fights for the big dogs.
You said let's just fast forward. These tune-up fights is what you said.
For the big dogs.
Hey, and I commend. And they trying to of course give Deontay Wilder a lot of heat. He was going to fight the dude that they said he was afraid of, Alexander Povetkin.
And was going to go to where? To Russia to fight
Going to go to Russia, to his own backyard. And this was the dude that they said he was going to duck.
Right.
Now that Povetkin failed the drug test, for PEDs, now they blaming Wilder on fighting Chris Arreola. And they not saying nothing about Povetkin anymore.
He still want to fight, so that's still a decent opponent to me to fight. Arreola still not just that was the best available guy that they can get for him.
Short notice.
Yeah, short notice.
Short notice. I mean, you're not gonna fight against Tyson Fury, on a short notice when they already built into that fight anyway.
It's like y'all said, it's even to Brazeale.
He's fighting Klitschko.
I know. I mean, it's like they they was bringing up David Haye. They was even bringing up David Haye. He fighting Shannon Briggs next. So
yeah, Luis King Kong Ortiz is fighting Ustinov. A lot of fans don't know. They just say whoever. Oh, you're not fighting King Kong or whoever, and they don't do the math. They don't look at the business like, oh, these guys are tied up.
It's almost like saying the Cavaliers should play Golden State every game. You can't play Golden State every game, or if you the Patriots, you can't play Seattle every game. You're gonna play I hate to say the Cleveland Browns or the Raiders. You can't fight all the toughest fights every fight.
Mm-hmm. Another thing I think we should give Deontay Wilder credit for, the difference from him and real fighters that are trying to avoid the best competition is Deontay Wilder, number one, he was going to fight Alexander Povetkin. Number two, he's been calling out Tyson Fury, Vladimir Klitschko. We already know they're building, to that Tyson Fury fight. We've seen, the antics in the ring when they was facing off and all that kind of stuff. And on top of all of that, he's flying out to the UK to cover the Anthony Joshua fight. So my question is, obviously he wants to fight all of these dudes.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, he's covering the fight. He's gonna be, a color analyst that night. So that means he wants to fight these guys, right? I mean, it's not like,
and Dante, you got to look at this. Let's keep it 100 right now. A couple years ago, people were saying that Chris Arreola, if you go to the old videos, Chris Arreola was doing all these interviews where he's talking trash about Deontay Wilder. They said, oh, Wilder got chicken legs, he's a bum, he ain't beating no one. And they were saying he's scared of Chris Arreola.
Yeah.
But Chris Arreola has kind of some discipline issues, weight issues, things like that. And he hasn't necessarily looked great in his last couple of fights. Now, all of a sudden, nobody's requesting that fight. They do this with Floyd Mayweather all the time. When Matisse is killing people at 140, they say, oh, Floyd, he'll never fight a Matisse. He won't fight a Ruslan. And when those guys stop looking like Superman and they get losses or get beat or knocked out or whatever, then nobody's requesting those fights for Floyd. So it's basically whoever they think can beat you right then, and if they're doing good, then they're going to say that. Now, Chris Arreola, again, his last couple of fights, he hasn't looked like this monster, unbeatable monster. Now no one's saying Wilder is ducking him. They're saying Wilder is cherry-picking some kind of way, even though he was going over to Russia to be the Black Rocky.
But even deeper than that, once again, it's the double standards in boxing. You got to blame the black fighter. Has anybody mentioned him failing the drug test? Because I haven't heard that yet. Nobody's saying anything about that, but they're blaming Wilder for fighting Chris Arreola.
Yeah, that's.
But the fact still remains he failed the drug test.
Yeah.
Period.
Right. Yeah.
So every time they bring up Wilder Areola, they should be bringing up Povetkin. You know, they should be like, if it wasn't for punk ass Povetkin, you know how the fans talk.
And he was
if it wasn't for him,
but it's easy to blame Wilder.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll go out of their way. They'll say, "Oh, Wilder went over to Russia and spiked Alexander Povetkin's drink and all that." Like, really?
Yeah.
He did all that so he could get out of the fight. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, I mean,
one man was dirty, and the fight got scrapped.
I mean,
and the funny thing is, Wilder didn't scrap the fight. The WBC scrapped the fight. So I don't understand why Wilder's getting sued and all this stuff. Wilder was over in Russia. It's not like he was chilling in Alabama drinking a pina colada like, I hope this guy don't fight me. He was in Russia waiting for his date.
Of course.
The dude failed the drug test. WBC said, we got to see what's up, and then they canceled it.
And psychologically, you have to recover from something like that. You go all the way out to Russia, you prepare for this opponent, and just for him to fail a test, and now, you know, everything, now you're fighting a different opponent. It's like, yeah, you got to recover from that psychologically as well. You know, so.
Here's another example. Abner Matas, the New York Athletic Commission is very strict, so he couldn't pass his medical for whatever reason against a champion in Jesus Cuellar. That was supposed to be on this weekend's Porter Thurman, so they won't license him to fight in New York. But nobody's blaming Abner Matas because he couldn't get registered. You know what I mean? He couldn't get the clearance from New York.
Yeah.
But they're blaming Wilder some kind of way when he didn't even fail a drug test. If he pissed a dirty test, that's one thing. So it's just a lot of double standards. Again, no one's blaming Abner Matas because he can't continue with his fight.
And you remember, and they were trying to accuse, I remember there was a time where they were trying to accuse Deontay Wilder of cheating and being on PEDs, right? So now the guy that he actually fights fails the test, and they still blaming Deontay Wilder on who he's facing next on short notice just to keep this card alive.
About it. Even worse, I just thought about it. That's like blaming Jesus Cuellar because Abner Matas couldn't get medical clearance in New York and get licensed through New York. That's like you blaming the champion, Jesus Cuellar. Like, Cuellar's a punk. He don't want to fight Mars. Like, wait, Mars couldn't get the medical clearance to compete.
Yeah.
You know, how was that Cuellar's deal or issue? He trained like a regular training camp. He was in New York. He was ready. You know what I'm saying? They're blaming the champion for the other person, something that happened on the other person's side.
Yep. And
unbelievable.
And I always say this too, you know, boxing is it's supposed to be structured like the NBA, like the NFL, where you have the season, you have the playoffs, you have the finals, right? And if you look at what a lot of fighters are doing right now, and at least fighters that really want to be the best, including my man Mickey Bey right here, fighting the best, that was like your Super Bowl fight for this year. You know what I mean? You got Andre Ward going against Kovalev. That's his Super Bowl fight. You have Deontay Wilder, who was supposed to fight Povetkin. That would have been his playoffs. And then he wants to fight the winner of Fury versus Vladimir Klitschko. You know, that's his Super Bowl fight for the year. You know, so you have to give these fighters credit. But Mickey, I want to say, man, your boy Al Heyman, man, he's been really, really doing a lot for the sport of boxing, man. He's putting on cards like crazy. It feels like we watching the NBA or the NFL sometime because there's so many fights going on. You know, they just did real good numbers with the Fonfara fight, which Fonfara, no one really knows who he is, and it did over 1 million views. Now you got Thurman versus Porter. With your close relationship with Al Heyman, just give me your thoughts on the PBC series and all.
Honestly, just from just looking on the grand scale, you know, I'm friends with a lot of fighters that fight under the PBC and Al Heyman, and I'm not even signed with Al.
Yeah,
you know, he's from Cleveland too, like me, so he came up with my family and everything, and I haven't even spoke to him in a while. But to me, this is the best thing that I ever witnessed. Like, you know, I've been around the game for a while. My grandfather grew up also with Don King from Cleveland too, and I've known Don since I was a kid. I never seen anything like this I never seen this many fighters happy, and that's what it's about, because
nobody's complaining.
In a sport like boxing, you can't fight good with a lot of problems because it's a mental game. So Al was making it easier to have good fights because everybody's happy. If it's 1 million problems out of the ring, you're not gonna get good fights. Guys are happy. That's why we got a Thurman in the Porter. They getting good money. Is the money always been there? It's just that the promoters and stuff always kept 80-90% of it. What Al was doing is making all the fighters happy. That way they fight each other. And PBC is just like, it's a league. It's pretty much like NFL, NBA.
Because they could lose, come back the very next week.
If it was, to me, it should only be, other than Mayweather. He tied into that. So, I say that he got a part of that. So, PBC is really what it should be in boxing, and that's it. I'm not saying there shouldn't be any other promoters involved, but when people talk boxing, that's casual fans, all they saying is PBC now.
Of course, because that's where all the fights, it's like, it seems like, 65-70%, maybe higher than that, of the fight cards we're watching are PBC cards. And the most relevant fight next to Ward versus Kovalev is Thurman versus Porter on free TV on CBS.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Dante.
Go ahead, man. Go ahead, Ego.
I was gonna say, look at this with Heyman bouts or whatever. Everyone say he's a king of mismatches. He's not doing nothing for boxing. What are we looking forward to this week? Porter Thurman. Scheduling Adnabata versus Jesus Cuellar. Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton. Anthony Joshua versus a Heyman fighter, Dominique Brazil, in a sold-out London crowd. You know what I'm saying? You look over at like Golden Boy, for example. What big fights do they have that rivals any of those fights that I just named?
Not one.
LA Fight Club.
LA Fight Club.
Hey, chill. What the
LA Fight Club. And I'm sure their numbers, TV ratings look like the PBC ratings, right?
Yeah. What is it? Jesus Soto Caras versus Kamagai 2? Like, what fights are there?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's just jealousy. I'm going to just be honest because
of course.
Because every fighter wants to be on that end.
Yeah.
To me, the only people that's trying to compete is Rock Nation. If they maybe had, because they got like a new way of that they trying to promote, and you see they putting together the Andre Ward and the Kovalev, but I think it's just jealousy because all the fighters are happy, and it makes them have to pay more and work harder, which the other promoters are not used to doing. They getting tired of fighters kind of waking up saying, how come I'm getting paid this and these other fighters are getting paid this? Oh, I'm going over to him, which you can't blame them. Like, to see the guys like even a Rancis or a Lara, they came from Cuba, to make a good living for their family. These other promoters wouldn't care about them. They'd throw them in the dirt.
Oh, yeah.
Now these guys getting it. They
got them fighting in their own backyard and everything. They fighting. They basically, Al Heyman is basically trying to help the fans, the fighters. He's working for them.
Yep.
Basically that's what it comes down to. But guys, we pretty much out of time. Close out real quick. You got anything you want to say before we shut out? Before we shut it down, my man Miles.
Yes, there's a big fight coming up in Whitehall, July 9th. Again, Will Madera, Take It Light Promotions, and look out for October for Teddy Atlas, Ernie Shavers, George Furman, and Evander Holyfield doing a big celebration for the champs that's coming up, and that will be on the next show when we come back.
There it goes. My man Miles Davis, my man Mickey Bey, former lightweight champion. I'm your boy Dante's Boxing Nation, AK Miss Boxing Baby and Boxing Ego. We'll see you guys next week, guys. We're on to the next one, y'all.